From casual nights out to celebrations and team events, it all starts here. Reserve a lane today at arbораxe.com. Arbor Axe House at the corner of N Street and Antelope Valley.
Nutrition Authority invites you to check out the top-selling Epic Effects. Epic Effects is designed to help blast body fat, curb cravings, and provide smooth energy so you can cruise through the day. Home of free samples and better than internet pricing, Epic Effects can only be found in Nutrition Authority. For store info, visit mynutritionauthority.com.
93.7 The Ticket, Fox, KFXL weather. Brought to you by Bryant Air Conditioning, Heating, Electrical, and Plumbing.
The Lincoln forecast for today, we'll see lots of sunshine with a light breeze. It'll be warm, an afternoon high near 87. Tonight, mainly clear skies, a continued light breeze, the low around 55. And tomorrow, we'll see more sunshine, it'll be breezy, an afternoon high near 83. I'm meteorologist Kyle Fletcher for 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
If you or anyone you care about is facing a family legal matter, call Cordell and Cordell today at 1-855-GET-LEGAL or visit CordellCordell.com to schedule your consultation.
There's a lot on the line in divorce. This is Joe Cordell of Cordell & Cordell, the largest family law firm in the country, with over 35 years of helping clients navigate divorce. But being big doesn't mean less personal or less local. Our attorneys live and work in your community, and as neighbors, they understand the challenges your families face. Divorce touches all areas of your life: your home, savings, retirement, and of course, kids. So when you find yourself facing divorce, you need a partner you can count on. Visit CordellCordell.com to schedule your consultation.
If you or anyone you care about is facing divorce, contact Cordell and Cordell today. With over 100,000 clients served, we understand the challenges you're facing on a personal level. Call Cordell and Cordell today at 1-855-GET-LEGAL. That's 1-855-GET-LEGAL. 1221 N Street, Lincoln.
Lincoln is full of great golf courses in a state that is getting national recognition for exceptional golf. Friend Country Club is worth the drive, just 40 minutes from Lincoln and home to one of the state's most respected 9-hole courses. Enjoy their restaurant with popular items like a 14-ounce ribeye, 10-ounce sirloin, or chicken fried steak. Open Thursday through Saturday from 5:30 to 10 p.m. Expand your horizons with a trip to Friend Country Club, just 40 minutes southwest of Lincoln. It's worth a visit.
Hi everyone, Kendall Warnock, A1 Automotive in downtown Lincoln. Spring is here. Summer is fast approaching. With weddings, vacations, and weekend getaways on your mind, do not let car issues prevent you from getting where you need to be. Car problems shouldn't be something that you put up with. Let us get you back on the road in comfort and safety. We diagnose all makes and models from Porsches to Hondas, Toyotas, and Chevrolets. We fix a variety of issues with all of them with our talented techs and our experienced staff. A1 Automotive at 11th and L, downtown Lincoln, always honest answers.
If you're seeking a career with a growing company, Gaina Trucking and Excavating is hiring and looking for additions to their team. Gaina Trucking has a strong team culture, competitive pay, 401ks, and benefits like health, dental, and vision. Drivers are guaranteed 40 hours per week, even in the winter months, and are home every night. Start your career today at Gaina Trucking and Excavating. Apply today at GainaTrucking.com.
Coming at you live from the heart of downtown Lincoln. This is Old School with Foreman and Orman. Nebraska Football Hall of Famer Jay Foreman.
Here's Troy Detmer dropping straight back in the pocket. Rifles a pass. It was tipped. It's picked off by Foreman. He's at the 15, 10, 5. He'll score. Foreman got it, and it's touchdown Huskers.
Black shirts answer the call one more time.
And Austin Orman. Old School with Foreman and Orman is sponsored by Graham Tire Company of Lincoln. Your tire store next door with 4 Lincoln locations. Old School with Foreman and Orman on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
Welcome in. It is indeed Old School here on the Ticket, second hour of the show, leading you up to Royals pregame. Yep, that's right. No matter how many games in a row the Kansas City Royals lose, we are Lincoln's home for the Royals. I love them dearly.
What are we
even
at,
if 8? They don't love me back. Yes, it is now an 8-game losing streak.
All right, sorry to bring up a tough spot, but I was curious.
Oh, Wyman and I went off on the Royals recap last night and again at the end of hour 1 of Old School. So, Austin Norman here, Harrison Arns there. Harrison, welcome in. How are you, my friend?
Doing fantastic. It's beautiful outside. And I think it's going to be beautiful all week. So, no, I'm loving it. Sports world. Obviously, plenty of things to talk about. Not only you and me will get into it, but plenty of things on weeknights as well. Tuesdays are loaded. We got national champs, of course. Jalen Reyes, it's a pre-recording, but it's the first time you guys will be able to hear it. So, Tuesdays are always good.
Indeed, they are. It's my chance to talk NBA with you. I always appreciate the chance to do that. And just not even on purpose, but somewhat coincidentally, your Chicago Bulls have been in the news. They are back in the news today here on a Tuesday as Billy Donovan says, I'm out.
Yep.
Not fired, but instead, Billy Donovan had an option in his contract. And after a lot of meetings, apparently with the front office, per Shams Charania, he says that, you know what, this isn't the spot for me. I'm going to step down. Shams says Donovan determined he wanted to give the team a clean break, provide the ability for the organization to undergo its front office search, and allow the new top basketball executive to make the next coaching hire. Harrison, that's something we talked about with the Bulls and trying to figure out, okay, so what's the point here? Are you going to make the new president and the new GM keep the head coach? That's not something that you see very often and not something that often works out very well. But it's official. Billy Donovan took the decision out of the Bulls' hands, refused to, declined to extend himself, did not exercise his option. And Billy Donovan now back on the coaching market.
I'm not surprised. As first thing I'll say, I mean, 6 years. The thing that's weird to me, again, we talked about last time this subject came up, was like the Bulls ownership was demanding that you have to keep Billy Donovan if you want the job. And I don't know if Billy Donovan just kind of thought to himself, like, listen, we're in for the tank. I don't want to do the tank. Like, I have no idea what the bond was with him that they wanted to keep him so much to the point that it became a one-way relationship where Billy Donovan it just sounded like, listen, guys, like I appreciate it, but I don't want to be a part of losing anymore. And I think that's where the Bulls are going. And I think he just didn't want to be the scapegoat for it. But I mean, it's a good thing that all this is finally just shaken out. This was a disaster waiting to happen. I think if he stayed the head coach, he would have just piled up a bunch of losses and would have been fired or let go of eventually if it wasn't his own decision to leave. So not surprised at all. But just everything building up to it was more of the surprising story. Just this weird tie with Billy Donovan that they were absolutely refusing to let go all the way just for him now on April 21st to say, like, I'll just step down and not take the money on the option contract. Bizarre.
But also for a guy like Billy Donovan, I think, again, this is probably his agent's portrayal of it too, Shams Charania. Oh, look at my client being the good guy. I'm sure there was maybe some, internal disagreement about how to proceed, because we can't forget what happened when Billy Donovan left Oklahoma City after a pretty darn successful run. I mean, the man won 61% of his games in 5 seasons as a first-time NBA head coach. Coached 41 playoff games there, was sub 500, but ended up winning at least a couple series in his time in Oklahoma City, especially there in that 15-16 season before they got bounced by the Warriors. I believe that would have been with the Mike Breen double bang call. But Billy Donovan entered the NBA at 50, coached those 5 seasons in Oklahoma City, never won fewer than 44 games. But there at the end of the tenure, the writing was kind of on the wall for those teams. And general manager Sam Presti, who, comes from let's just roll out the armored tank, right? Get down there, accumulate picks, accumulate talent, and see where it falls. Billy Donovan wanted to coach a winner. OKC wanted to tear down. Billy Donovan said, nope, I don't want to do that. I don't want to stick around. I want to win now. And so, of course, then he goes to Chicago. First year, not great, 31-41. They go to 46-36, make the straight up playoffs last year, or in the second year in Chicago. And then every year before this year, made their way to the play-in round. But, I liked the move for Chicago to go get a guy that won that many games. Rosters never really made sense. But I'll throw this out there, Harrison, because I know you're a Bulls guy. Steph No, Chicago guy, but also does some NBA writing for Sporting News, says Billy D was a solid coach for the Bulls, generally overperformed expectations, got the most out of bad defensive talent, radically adjusted offensive styles to fit different groups. A split was probably best for both sides, but it won't be easy to find someone better than him. Bulls fan replies and says, overperformed. He was 30 games below 500, with only one playoff appearance in a weak Eastern Conference. How low were the expectations? Steph No responds with, the Bulls beat their Vegas over-under every year except one. And that 1 year, they missed it by 1 game, the year that Lonzo Ball missed the entire season. The expectations based on talent were always that the Bulls would be mid to bad. They ended up mid more often than not in the play-in, again, in that weaker Eastern Conference. But I do think that that's a fair point that Steph No makes, is that you never really saw a Billy Donovan-style roster. You had Billy Donovan constantly scrambling and trying to figure out what worked best for each group of players.
Yeah, I mean, we hinted at this before. Like, I don't think Billy Donovan's a bad coach. I just think he got into the point where his name whether rightfully or not, is all over those losses through 6 seasons. And it just gets to a point where even if it's not your fault, you have a losing kind of shadow that's just been hanging over you. So I think he's a good coach, but like a new voice would make sense. And to the point of him being a good coach, listen, he's always been, I think, a pretty good coach. And you look at the rosters that they've had, it's been a lot of bad contracts. The Patrick Williams is the first one that everybody brings up. And not only does he not perform out of the draft, you double down and you extend him when there isn't
any reason.
A strong case too. I still can't ever think of one. And the one time they spent the money, if it wasn't for injuries and some tough luck, like he put together a hell of a team. I mean, the Bulls are sitting number one in the East, where give or take it with a grain of salt here. I think it was like a little bit less than half of the NBA season when they had Lonzo Ball, DeMar DeRozan, Zach LaVine, Alex Caruso, and Kobe White, even Ayo Dosunmu. Like, they were doing a good job putting some of these pieces, and then they finally got it going. That was the closest I think we saw to a Billy Donovan type offense, and everyone got hurt. And then since then, I mean, now you just flash forward, that's where we're at today, where they've moved on from all those pieces. And even a guy like Vucevic, Vucevic owes Billy Donovan a lot of his earnings, because Billy Donovan has consistently put him in a system, and I know everyone thinks he's overrated, but Vucevic has been consistently at least decent because Billy Donovan's always been able to utilize just about everything he can out of him. So I think, it's kind of tough. It's not all his fault, but the program is like such a losing spot that you almost just have to get a new voice, even if it's not all his fault.
The Bulls aspect of this is intriguing. Cubsker, another Bulls fan here on our Starter Human Jewelers text line.
There's a lot of us. We're kind of in hiding as of late, but one day we'll come out.
Show your pride, dang it. I'm still wearing Royals gear, and they're in an 8-game losing streak. Y'all at least made the playoffs. Cubsker says the Bulls, even when they spent money, were never going to be higher than a 7 seed. And he says, I woke up today that the lovely news of Billy D stepping down was here. Here's this, though. Cubsker says, I think it's time to go get Steve Kerr or Mike Budenholzer. Let them have control and give them the players that they want. We'll save the Steve Kerr aspect of this because it's fascinating. I think fascinating enough to build our entire next segment around. Mike Budenholzer, interesting name. Knows the division pretty well from his time with Milwaukee. Obviously spent his time in Phoenix and with the Hawks and around the NBA. Greg Popovich tree guy down the line.
Mm-hmm.
I like Mike Budenholzer. I don't know if I love Mike Budenholzer necessarily. Is it time for the Bulls to go get a veteran, a stabilizing presence that can do the Billy Donovan thing and extract every last drop of talent? Or is it time for the Bulls just to sell it off for spare parts, go through a true actual rebuild, get out of the play-in, and hire maybe a young up-and-coming coach to grow with the roster, in your opinion?
Doc Rivers. No, I'm just kidding. Definitely not pulling Doc Rivers in there.
Obviously, come on.
I think, listen, as great as the Steve Kerr story it sounds, I don't know if he'd be willing to just like go back. And like we'll still see what happens. I don't think that's official yet, but I think it's very likely that no longer that Warriors head coach. I don't know if he'd be willing to go to the Bulls and try to fix them while they're still in the middle of a thing. I think if you're the Bulls, you are at a point where, listen, let's just sink the ship completely. I mean, we got to start loading up with draft picks. They've been, to your point, just hovering in that middle of the Eastern Conference for so long that they have like no picks as a result of it. And that's where you see all these teams today, like really tanking all the time. Now they have some picks, but they haven't hoarded a chest full to really turn a team around. And we've kind of seen it. That's the recipe for, go look at the Rockets, Spurs, Thunder. I mean, a lot of the teams are having a ton of success right now. They had a hoard of picks through not being towards the bottom half of the playoffs and the play-in, but being towards the bottom of the entire Western or Eastern or overall NBA record.
Yeah, I mean, the Lakers tried it, didn't work out for them until they swing some big trades.
Mm-hmm.
Really, the other exception that I think we could really point out in the West is Denver. You know, I mean, Minnesota had the bad year where they end up with Anthony Edwards there, and then they make the Rudy Gobert trade.
Pelicans tried it. Pelicans might be the...
But they're not good. They're not up there.
Like they're the example of how not to tank. But
well, they're the Bulls of the West.
Yeah, thanks. They really are, though.
You know, in a lot of ways. Out East, I mean, Atlanta got a number 1 pick, but did they really tank? No, they were just kind of mid.
Mm-hmm.
I would say New York didn't really tank necessarily. Certainly not to get this Brunson-esque core with Towns, Bridges, and all those guys. Boston had the couple down years where they get Brown and Tatum. Detroit, obviously, was in the dumps for a very, very long time. Cleveland has had its share of number 1 or top 5 sort of picks as well. Toronto may be in that boat too.
I mean, all these teams did, like the Celtics did it by, hey, we'll pay the second apron tax. And I think they kind of accepted paying a decent amount of money. Like you go like the Knicks, they've done a really good job doing it through trades. I'm sorry to cut you off there. I'm just throwing more stuff at the wall there as you mentioned some of those teams. Yeah. So, I think if you're the Chicago Bulls, like what value do you have to like make any trades? That's kind of where I'm at the point where it's like you've traded everything away. You traded Vucevic, you've traded DeMar, you traded Zach, all these guys are gone.
It's Gideon Buzelis right now. Those are your chips.
Yeah. And you'd like to keep Buzelis. I think Giddey's one guy you're okay letting go because he's a great player. He does a lot of stuff for you, but the problem is the Buzelis is going to have the bigger market's going to be certainly for Buzelis, a wing that can do a little bit of shooting as well. That's it though. I mean, that's kind of the wall that you're stuck at. So that's why I think you just kind of rip down all the floorboards. You go in with the coach. Don't get super worried if it's a big name or not. And you're probably going to keep losing a lot more games. I hate tanking. Just think that's the direction you need to go because what cards do you have left?
Cubsker chimes back in, says, I blame the front office for all that because they didn't get a single first-round pick for the Big Four. Now, this is a heck of a Big Four. Zach LaVine, DeMar DeRozan, Alex Caruso, or Williams. Well, let's think about that.
It was our Big Four, though, Austin. It might not be much to you, but it was ours.
The Big Four versus the Fred Hoiberg era, three alphas, right? People forget. Here's the thing, though. Zach LaVine, you traded him to guess who? Sacramento.
Mm-hmm.
Sacramento. Right? Isn't that where you shipped him off to?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. How is that going to go for you? I mean, I know the Kings are dumb, but another high volume, okay efficiency guy on a team that's going nowhere, not necessarily working. DeMar DeRozan,
same spot.
Similar thing against Sacramento.
Mm-hmm.
A good player, but first rounders are valuable. And they picked up even more value recently. Alex Caruso was, pre-Derek White, I think, in a lot of ways when he was in Chicago. But under the radar, you weren't going to get a first for Alex Caruso. You couldn't drive up a bidding war for him because not every team knew what to make of him.
That's a good trade that they pulled off. To get anything, Giddey, for Alex Caruso is really. I think you would do that 100 times over, knowing that's the result. Because Giddey had some baggage, but he turned out to be, close to triple-double threat about every night.
Yeah, no, and Caruso fits the Thunder, what they need more than he fit the Bulls, right? Giddey gave the Bulls another bite at the apple there with the ball in his hands. And then a Cubsker also says, don't forget Ayo Dosunmu, make it 5 players that you didn't get a single first rounder for out of all of them. No, I think that's all fair. And I am hoping for your Bulls, Harrison. I mean, it's a franchise that outside of the Jordan years and a couple of years with Derrick Rose has just this has been what they are. It's not like they're some NBA blue blood necessarily. They're blue blood because of Jordan.
Yeah,
they had an era and they had a couple years.
You can dig back for guys like Jerry Sloan, but I mean, we're talking stuff that our grandparents would they'll have a hoot talking about it, but we'll just kind of say it in passing,
Right. And so that's where, I want to say basketball is better when the Bulls are good, but most of NBA history has been played with the Bulls right where they're at.
I think the lesson is the NBA is good when there's a clear greatest of all time.
Sure.
And at the time it was Michael Jordan. Like right now you can, but I mean, it was such it's just you're going to have those legendary teams about it. And I hate to do it because Nebraska football's had a lot more success, but you go look at that 95 team, one of the great college football teams of all time. Yeah. Look at what it's done. And that's, maybe a tough analogy to compare those two. But when you have one of the best to ever do it, whether you agree with that or not, like that town, that franchise becomes a staple and it can suffer a lot more losing seasons as opposed to, if the Pelican, no one really cares about the Pelicans because they just haven't had that chapter, even though both, as you mentioned, they're the kind of Western Bulls. Both haven't really done anything since we've been alive, but the Bulls are still always going to have the much bigger interest.
The other part of this Billy Donovan thing, now that we've talked through the Bulls, the Billy Donovan part of this is the part that really holds my curiosity because there's so many doors that could potentially be opened, right? You think about Billy Donovan, and he's pretty well respected across the NBA. Could he be a candidate for a lot of these jobs that are popping open? CBS Sports, I'm reading from Matt Norlander, who writes, multiple NBA openings are expected to materialize in the coming weeks, and Donovan, a proven program builder with both NBA and championship-level college experience, is likely to be linked to several of them, sources told CBS Sports. As one of them put it, the guy wants to coach. He's going to be a head coach again. All right, he goes on. Donovan has leverage with his Hall of Fame resume and desire to coach again. He prioritizes the NBA. He'll have options and likely at least one in this year's cycle. If he pauses or waits out this cycle and chooses not to coach for 26-27, the expectation for him will be to return somewhere in 2027. If we get to that point, Norlander writes, things would get very interesting in college basketball at a number of schools. First and foremost, the place where Billy Donovan got his start as a coach, as an assistant, back in 1989, a place that has hit about as well in the transfer portal as the Kansas City Royals have this year, Kentucky. Could Billy Donovan be in play for Kentucky? Okay, interesting to think about. What about at Kansas? Bill Self is back. It seems like it's an unnamed succession plan.
Right.
A lot of people have said Jock Vaughn seems likely to take over there in Lawrence. But how many college titles has Jock Vaughn won? How does his resume compare to Billy Donovan's? Are you willing to risk continuity and familiarity at the expense of letting Billy Donovan go to another high-level program? And then this is where we can start turning the conversation a little bit here, because CBS Sports throws out the option of Billy Donovan returning to Florida. You might be asking yourself, why would Billy Donovan go back to Florida? Isn't that a team that's made it to a national championship game and won a national championship game in the last 2 years with a rising hotshot of a coach who's had one little legal incident, but other than that, has really done nothing but win? The answer is correct, except that the Steve Kerr situation is just hanging over everyone's head. And if Steve Kerr should step away from the Golden State Warriors, Todd Golden has a relationship with the Lacob family in charge of the Warriors from his time as the head coach of the University of San Francisco. Would Todd Golden consider an NBA leap, and what would that mean for the Warriors? We'll get into that a little bit more in the next segment. But Harrison, the main point for the Billy Donovan aspect is the man will have options. I am fascinated to see if he likes the NBA lifestyle and wants to stick there, or at just 60 years old, if he's got another decade plus in a new era of college that in some ways is more like the modern NBA. I think I would have more confidence in Billy Donovan returning to college than I do right now in Carolina hiring Mike Malone. I am fascinated to see not if, but where Billy Donovan is a head coach for the next time.
Yeah, I mean, he's definitely going to be another head coach somewhere. I haven't really thought about the college game too much for him. And I know we're going to break here. We can't go through. I mean, as I was listening to that, you got to get the red yarn out on the wall and start connecting all these together here. But he's, to your point though, and I think it summarized like a lot of what you said there. He's just got a lot of connections to all these places. And then of course with the Steve Kerr looming in the mix, like, I mean, we're at a point where there are some not only coaches but players as well. Some massive shifts are going to be entering into the NBA, and then obviously we'll see. Like I said, haven't thought about the college game too much for a guy like Billy Donovan, but we'll see. And in today's era of college sports, that transition makes more sense than it ever really has.
I have honestly thought more about the college game than the NBA for Billy Donovan, because I think for as well respected as he is, what are the win now situations that he would walk into? You know, would he be a good fit up in Milwaukee? Is that really a win now situation?
Yeah,
they got a win now player in Giannis, but
he's disgruntled already.
Around? Right.
And if you're struggling with him early on, I mean, coaches have been, you don't like Milwaukee. That's not a spot you want to hit whatsoever. I mean, Phoenix, do you like Phoenix at all?
I like Jordan Ott. I think what he built this year, he doesn't deserve to get fired for that. Would he be an option in Portland, or would they want to keep Thiago Splitter, who got elevated after the Chauncey Billups gambling poker scandal issue kind of thing went down? Do the Knicks make a panic change again if they lose in the first round and pursue Billy Donovan? I mean, Philly,
I think they're sitting.
You know, have you seen enough from Nick Nurse? Do you want to give Billy Donovan a chance with that high level talent? Orlando may or may not be making a change, and Billy Donovan apparently was in conversations with the Magic after the 2007 title that he won with Florida.
That might be
that's a team that made it to the finals 2 years
potential
later.
spot so far.
You know,
is the Magic,
and then
we got to wait and see, obviously, if they hold on to him or not.
Right. JJ Redick seems like he's doing fine with the Lakers. I don't think he's in any sort of issues.
Surprisingly.
I just don't know where that maybe Billy Donovan's mindset has changed and he's willing to go to a team.
Who's coaching the Clippers right now? I'm blanking on the Clippers. Who's coaching Clippers right now?
Former Husker. Ty Lue.
Oh, Ty Lue. Okay. Yeah, he's fine.
I
was going to say
would
maybe
think,
him, but
I would think, but maybe Ballmer gets rash and says, "How did you lose to the Warriors in the first
Yeah.
game?" I don't know.
he
I
lost to
doubt
Steph
it.
Curry. I think he'll be all right then.
But unless Billy Donovan's changed his mind about needing to want to win now and want to be pedal to the metal for winning an NBA championship, I don't see a clean fit necessarily in the NBA right now.
There isn't one. I mean, unless some people get fired here, but I think you're right. There might only be college spots. You're looking at very few teams that are desirable, and even then, they'd have to fire their coach.
Yeah. Let's talk about the Billy Donovan to Golden State angle. Would it make sense, or what does Steve Kerr do? Does he decide to run it back, play out the string with Steph and Draymond? Does Steve Kerr say, nope, it's run its course, I'm done, I'm out of here, and what would that mean for the rest of the Warriors roster? We will do that next on Old School. Big thanks to Graham Tire Company, getting you where you need to go. They have done some fantastic work in the Midwest for 75 years. More than just tires, they do all kinds of car and light truck repairs too. From brakes to oil changes, trust Graham Tire for service you can count on. It's Graham Tire, getting you to the places that matter most. More NBA and college head coaching chatter next on Old School.
You're listening to Old School with Jay Foreman and Austin Orman. Download the mobile app and listen wherever you are on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
Concrete Industries has immediate openings for production laborers, operators, and drivers. Earn great pay starting at $21.50 per hour, plus health benefits, 401k, paid time off, and more. Right now, production laborers can earn a $1,500 hiring bonus, and drivers are eligible for a $2,500 hiring bonus. No experience? No problem. Concrete Industries offers on-the-job training and opportunities to grow your career. Start your future today. Visit concreteindustries.com.
There are so many realtors in Lincoln and Omaha, but don't get overwhelmed by all of the no-names, plus all the different companies. Ben Bleicher with Professional Realty Group at Berkshire Hathaway Home Services Real Estate is your go-to option, whether buying or selling residential, luxury, leasing, investment properties, or commercial property, small or large. Ben's team offers decades of experience, unbeatable customer service, and promises to fully protect your interests throughout the entire transaction. Call 402-419-6309 for all your real estate needs. Ben Bleicher with Professional Realty Group of BHHS Ambassador Real Estate.
If you're seeking a career with a growing company, Gaina Trucking and Excavating is hiring and looking for additions to their team. Gaina Trucking has a strong team culture, competitive pay, 401ks, and benefits like health, dental, and vision. Drivers are guaranteed 40 hours per week, even in the winter months, and are home every night. Start your career today at Gaina Trucking and Excavating. Apply today at GainaTrucking.com.
Grandma and Grandpa, Mom and Dad, then the kids, and now the grandkids. Judson Irrigation has provided lawn sprinkler system design, installation, repair, and service to 4 generations. They're just like members of the family. Loyalty, trust, service. It's what you deserve and expect from Judson Irrigation.
Keep summer green. Call Judson Irrigation 402-420-6277 or judsonirrigation.com.
Zach Bryan with Heaven on Tour.
Poison myself again. Something in the orange tells me you'll never call
Saturday, April 25th, Memorial Stadium.
Wish I didn't, but I do.
With special guests, Kings of Leon and J.R. Carroll. Tickets are on sale now at ZachBryan.com. Don't miss Zach Bryan live.
If you or anyone you care about is facing a family legal matter, call Cordell and Cordell today at 1-855-GET-LEGAL or visit CordellCordell.com to schedule your consultation.
There's a lot on the line in divorce. This is Joe Cordell of Cordell & Cordell, the largest family law firm in the country, with over 35 years of helping clients navigate divorce. But being big doesn't mean less personal or less local. Our attorneys live and work in your community, and as neighbors, they understand the challenges your families face. Divorce touches all areas of your life: your home, savings, retirement, and of course, kids. So when you find yourself facing divorce, you need a partner you can count on. Visit CordellCordell.com to schedule your consultation.
If you or anyone you care about is facing divorce, contact Cordell and Cordell today. With over 100,000 clients served, we understand the challenges you're facing on a personal level. Call Cordell and Cordell today at 1-855-GET-LEGAL. That's 1-855-GET-LEGAL. 1221 N Street, Lincoln.
Need an adventure? How about the bright lights of Vegas? The magic of Orlando? Or the sunshine of Orange County? Now you can reach them all with new flights from LNK on Breeze Airways. Stretch out, relax, and enjoy the flight. Your vacation starts the moment you board at LNK. Book today at LincolnAirport.com. LNK. Make flying easy.
Are you looking for something different for lunch or dinner in Lincoln? Big 8 is now open at 1226 P Street, serving seafood boils and Asian cuisine. Get your hands messy with fresh, flavorful seafood boils, hot, cold, and made to share. Or enjoy classic Chinese and Asian dishes, perfect for lunch, dinner, or a night out with friends and family. Big flavors, generous portions, and a brand new dining experience. Big 8, now open in Lincoln.
A membership with John Henry's will fast-track you to front-of-the-line service, seasonal tune-ups, and far fewer unexpected moments. That means no breakdowns, no waiting on a call, and no nonsense. It's consistent care that prevents small issues from turning into big bills. Join the Comfort Club and get VIP treatment 365 days a year with 24-hour priority response, member-only discounts, and peace of mind on your home's most expensive systems. Call John Henry's.
John Henry's Plumbing, heating and air.
And electrical.
Don't leave your spring digging projects to chance. Call Nebraska 811 before grabbing the shovel so utilities like LES can mark their buried lines and help you prevent injuries and outages.
Back to old school with Foreman and Orman on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
Welcome back in. It is indeed Old School. Austin Orman and Harrison Orange with you. Teased this a little bit in our previous segment. Let's dive into it here, though, officially. The Golden State Warriors and Steve Kerr having some conversations about the future. It was a situation where Steve Kerr did not receive a contract extension, so he is not being fired yet, but Steve Kerr and the Warriors are talking through what it is the future. Looks like, of course, Steve Kerr got the 4 rings with the Warriors, the one before the loss to the Cavaliers after the 73-9 season, the back-to-back rings with Kevin Durant, and then the pop-up title back there in the early 2020s. But, Harrison, this is a Warriors franchise that was trending in the right direction under Mark Jackson. Certainly when you have draft picks, like Steph Curry and Klay Thompson butting into what they did, finding Draymond Green near that kind of pivot point as well. They were a good team with Mark Jackson. Steve Kerr came in, and the Warriors really ran the West for 5 straight years, couple down years before the pop-up title, and have been a pretty consistent playoff team in his tenure. Guy that came in from the desk, right? The TV desk, being an analyst, fit right in. His system really meshed with what Steph Curry was good at. And in your head that Steph Curry was a Mark Jackson era draft pick. You just tie him to Steve Kerr, who's been one of the faces of this era. It feels like, kind of like Phil Jackson in the Bulls, maybe Greg Popovich in the Spurs. You can't necessarily separate the coach from this era that franchise has had.
Yeah, I mean, what he's done with over there, like starting all the way back with the death lineup, where you got a bunch of dudes out there. I think 6'6" was the tallest. Because how tall is Draymond? 6'6", 6'7". I mean, playing at the center there, you imagine up there with like guys like Andre Iguodala and
Harrison Barnes.
Yeah, you look at this roster and you're like, well, they're pretty, like I get it. Their offensive esque is going to be what's overpowering, but you're like wondering how they can play defense. He had really good defenses too, and I don't think he always gets credit for that. Like,
oh yeah,
everyone just the 3-point shot obviously great, and the offense was incredible, but he doesn't get enough respect for creating also someone like the best defenses with those small ball lineups. And I'm not talking about his historical, but enough to have like a 70. I think the best he had was 73 wins or
73-9.
73. Yeah. So just an unreal record and resume that you're going to be hard pressed to find anybody who's even close to that unless you're in the neighborhood of guys like Phil Jackson. So It's interesting, and I think they're at a point where it's like, listen, whatever you want to do, Steve Kerr. Like, obviously, we're not going to give you a lifetime contract, but I think they just have that respect, and it'll be weird not see Steve Kerr on the Warriors if it does come this way. It's nice to get a little bit of vintage Curry before it's all said and done with that comment, and even Draymond Green, they took down the Clippers, but yeah, it's just going to be interesting. A Hall of Fame career, and if it wraps up here, I thought he would have had one more. Is kind of where I was at. 4 was incredible. He seems like a guy that would be able to get all 5.
That's a guy that, probably should have had 5, right?
Mm-hmm.
In the 73-9 year. Of course, they're in the finals against Toronto before the injuries happen as well. And they lose that one, I think, in 6. Missed the playoffs for a couple of years and then really backdoor their way to that title there in 2022. Do you think Steve Kerr would go back to TV? Do you think he would just kind of fade off and be done with coaching? Do you think that he would be maybe a stealth player for, like Cubsker said, the Chicago job, a Milwaukee job, an Orlando job, one of those? What do you see for Steve Kerr specifically?
It depends how much he loves Chicago like that. I think he'll definitely be taking a break. If Chicago called him right now, if he's done with the Warriors, I don't think he'd be willing to be like, let me go fix this dumpster fire. Unless he's looking for a major project, I think it'll be a while before it'll be Steve Kerr, maybe a year, maybe a couple of years off, but I wouldn't be surprised. I mean, if you're kind of coming off a career arc like that with the Golden State Warriors, I think you would want to take the time to assess and go pick my next spot a little bit more. I kind of have the leverage in my hands. And how old is he now? What'd you say?
Steve
70?
Kerr is older than I think he is, but not necessarily old. I don't believe. He is 60. So same age as Billy Donovan.
Okay. I was way overshooting him for calling him, 7 years old. But okay. So he's really
disrespectful.
He's really disrespectful because, hey, it's tough though. You start to age a little bit, I guess, when you're that many finals in a row. But
when he coached Jordan Poole,
he's a lot younger. He's
Jordan
a lot
Poole,
younger
Jonathan
than I thought.
Kuminga.
Yeah, I mean that one had a lot to it. Obviously, you bring in those duos, but maybe he does go to it. 60's not that old. I thought he was older than that.
I think Steve Kerr has the world in the palm of his hand right now. Whatever he wants to do, he can get another job. I think it would be weird to see him take another job just because of how tied he's been to the Warriors in this era. Is he an all-time great head coach? I don't know. He's certainly not Mount Rushmore. Top 10 NBA head coach of all time, highly doubt it. Top 25, maybe. I mean, 4 rings is really hard to argue with. Are we going to remember, Steve Kerr as the architect of these Warriors? Probably not. You're going to remember Steph and Clay. You're going to remember Draymond. You're going to remember the Hamptons 5. You're going to remember the choke. Steve Kerr's a really good coach. I don't know. Again, maybe it's more portable than I think it is. Where it gets interesting to me is what Golden State would decide to do if Steve Kerr hangs it up. Because on the one hand, I could see this being the perfect time to say, okay, Steph, you're getting older. We know you want to be a one franchise guy, but would you want to go back home and play for Charlotte? We'll take LaMelo Ball back in a trade that we could have drafted instead of James Wiseman, but decided not to.
Mm-hmm.
Do you ship him out somewhere else? And you say, okay, Draymond, you go play with your buddy LeBron down in Los Angeles, right? Sounds like the Warriors and Draymond are renegotiating a contract right now, probably for lower money over a bigger amount of years. Would this be the opportunity for the Warriors to blow it up? I think Steph Curry and Draymond Green would have a lot to say in that, because I could see a lot of head coaches, maybe a Billy Donovan, want to walk into that. Yeah, it's an aging core. Is Billy Donovan give it 2 years in Golden State and then say, college will always be there. I'll go back to that. The Todd Golden angle fascinates me because I could see Golden State, if that's the route they want to go, saying, you know what, Todd Golden, we want to ease your transition in here. We're going to give you the fabric of our franchise here with Steph Curry, with Draymond Green. We'll do the best we can to add around him. Jimmy Butler ought to be coming back off of injury maintenance and recovery and what have you. But would Steph Curry want to sign up to do that? I think in theory, giving Todd Golden the apex version of Walter Clayton Jr., like he had at Florida in the form of Steph Curry, could be really fun. I think Golden State leaning into a system that prioritizes possessions like Todd Golden has at Florida, leans into offensive rebounding, to getting bigger, getting Steph Curry, as many 3-point shots as he can handle, and a couple other shooters in the backcourt with him as well, could be intriguing if that's the route they go and if Steph Curry wants to do that. I know Steph wants to be a one franchise guy. It'll be curious to see if Steve Kerr does indeed step away. if Steph Curry, maintains that stance, or if he says, I guess I was really more a Steve Kerr guy than the Golden State guy. Sure, ship me off somewhere. I mean, I love this franchise and want the best for you, and what's best for you is, selling me off for draft picks at this point.
I think if Kerr leaves, the Golden situation makes the most sense. If there was the genuine interest there to pull that off. I think you're at a point it's tough. It's a different era. As much as you'd like to do your quote unquote victory lap or whatever final years you have with your set superstar, like, is it always worth it to just be, I like to go look at the Lakers, the best example. They paid for it in losses, but they also had a hell of a run there. And of course you have the 60-point game. So it worked out really well, but like doing victory laps and like kind of last year tours is a lot of losing, and it's tough, and you're still paying for a losing team because that superstar is usually demanding quite a bit of money there.
And for Steph Curry, it's $62.6 million for next year.
Okay. So you got to ask yourself, like, are we going to keep him just because he's our guy and, ship off some of these other pieces? Do you think he's still got enough of a run? I mean, I'll ask you this and then I'll keep going. Like, do you think the Warriors have enough right now to make a run for another NBA Finals? Because if it's no, then you have to just start blowing it up.
The short answer is no.
Yeah. Is there enough, like, is there a piece that they can make or a simple move? Or are we talking, because that's just kind of where I decide these things. I don't know if there's one or two trades you can make to fix the problem at this point. You got a bunch of guys and they're older. I mean, they're just getting hurt. Jimmy Butler with the ACL tear, Steph Curry. You look at all those guys, a lot of them hardly played. It was a tough year for the Warriors, just super injury prone, excuse me. I think you have multiple guys missing like 25, 30 plus games. It's not if like, okay, I trust them, but like, listen, we're getting older here and some of these guys are getting hurt. That's why I think you just kind of, even if you think a trade or two could fix it, injuries are going to probably keep happening with this team.
The reporting from The Athletic that I've read is that the Warriors would be interested in a LeBron James trade. The Warriors would be interested in a stealth Kawhi Leonard trade, and the Warriors would still be interested in Giannis, potentially.
Okay.
I think the idea of Steph and Giannis on the same team is wildly fascinating. Not sure what the chemistry looks like.
I think that just sounds good.
But again,
better than what it really would be.
You have two Supermax deals on the books.
Yeah.
What does the rest of the roster look like? How do you keep Draymond Green around there where he and Giannis are, neither one of them is best parked at the rim protecting it. They're both better, roving kind of off the ball, playing passing lanes and gaps and rotating over from weak side to protect the rim. There are ways they would make it work, but the other part that's hurt the Warriors is they don't necessarily have cheap, controllable talent. They have not done that well in the draft, which is where if you hit on, Moses Moody to a bigger degree, do you trust Brandon Pajemski, when it comes down to this? I really don't. So then let's say you're Todd Golden and Steve Kerr walks away. You're approached with it, the Golden State offer. Would you prefer to walk into a building with Steph Curry and Draymond Green, because those are two franchise cornerstones, two of the best 5 to 6 players in franchise history? Would it be nice to have those guys there to help you in your first NBA gig? Or would you say, hey, I understand what these guys meant to the franchise, but if you're betting on me as the head coach, I want a chance to develop a roster in my own image, right? I don't want to be beholden to these two aging veterans and everything that they want to do. I don't want to feel like I'm held hostage. I don't have to walk on eggshells. I want to come in and institute my program. I think it'd be good for Todd Golden in this example, or, a first-time NBA head coach, or maybe it's an assistant being promoted up to current NBA assistant promoted to head coach for the first time, to have tent poles like Steph Curry and Draymond Green to help with the transition. I could also say, hey, I'll probably have more time and more patience if I can convince them to blow it up. Because it's always going to be title or bust for Steph Curry and Draymond Green and potential trade addition here closer to the twilight of their career than the dawn of their career. As much as it would be great to coach those guys and have them around for culture, institutional knowledge, what have you, I feel like there's a lot of coaches that would say, I would just want my own team. Blow it up. Just understand it might be rough, but give me the chance to develop the next core.
Yeah, I mean, that's where I'd be. Again, if you want to use the examples, if you want a couple flagpoles, help you get started with some superstars. Like, these aren't old, these aren't new, these are old, rusty flagpoles that we're starting with. There's a good chance they break. which happened this year. And again, with a guy like Steph Curry, as great as he is, obviously a Hall of Famer, like at the beginning of his career, super injury prone, and like you're seeing it more late in his career. All these guys are going to have a good chance, and you can go in there. What's the window? Like if you want to keep Steph Curry and you want to keep maybe Draymond Green or try to keep some of the core, okay, what does that time window look like then? Are we talking 2, 3? Like you really think 5 years with these guys? At some point, you're just kind of prolonging the reset. And some of those you mentioned, like, well, maybe if you trade a Kawhi, get Kawhi Leonard in there, older player, injury prone. Like I don't feel super strong about it. Just about all the players that you can maybe go out and grab are ironically a bunch of older guys that are all kind of injury prone doing the same thing. I mean, that's what the market in today's NBA has become. So no, not a big fan. I think you'd have to go in there, and as tough as it is, maybe you keep Steph Curry and he just has the understanding that, hey, we're going to be really bad. We're going to pay you a lot of money and this is what it is. But we're just trying to get through here, and you can be the face, but understand it's going to be like Kobe Bryant towards the end. We're going to lose a lot of games and you're going to be asked to kind of do everything and your body's going to hurt for it.
It's going to be fascinating to watch because I think that the Warriors are done winning titles for a while, but Steph Curry could get another one potentially if he leaves. I'll also say this. I don't think that the 2027 NBA draft will be quite as good as the 2028 NBA draft, at least according to a lot of cycles and circles. I mean, Tyron Stokes, the number 1 overall player in the 26th class here, has yet to commit. It'll be a good 27 draft, but probably not nearly as good as this 25 draft was. I think the 27 draft should be pretty solid at the top with some options for some potential cornerstones. We'll take our final break. We'll have a shorter final segment with the Royals in the air here in just about 12 and a half minutes. He's Harrison. I'm Austin. This is Old School.
Watch Old School live on Facebook, YouTube, or Twitch. Old School with Foreman and Orman on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
Are you looking for something different for lunch or dinner in Lincoln? Big 8 is now open at 1226 P Street, serving seafood boils and Asian cuisine. Get your hands messy with fresh, flavorful seafood boils, hot, bold, and made to share. Or enjoy classic Chinese and Asian dishes, perfect for lunch, dinner, or a night out with friends and family. Big flavors, generous portions, and a brand new dining experience. Big 8, now open in Lincoln.
If you or anyone you care about is facing a family legal matter, call Cordell and Cordell today at 1-855-GET-LEGAL or visit CordellCordell.com to schedule your consultation.
There's a lot on the line in divorce. This is Joe Cordell of Cordell & Cordell, the largest family law firm in the country, with over 35 years of helping clients navigate divorce. But being big doesn't mean less personal or less local. Our attorneys live and work in your community, and as neighbors, they understand the challenges your families face. Divorce touches all areas of your life, your home, savings, retirement, and of course, kids. So when you find yourself facing divorce, you need a partner you can count on. Visit CordellCordell.com to schedule your consultation.
If you or anyone you care about is facing divorce, contact Cordell and Cordell today. With over 100,000 clients served, we understand the challenges you're facing on a personal level. Call Cordell and Cordell today at 1-855-GET-LEGAL. That's 1-855-GET-LEGAL. 1221 N Street, Lincoln.
Lincoln is full of great golf courses in a state that is getting national recognition for exceptional golf. Friend Country Club is worth the drive, just 40 minutes from Lincoln and home to one of the state's most respected 9-hole courses. Enjoy their restaurant with popular items like a 14-ounce ribeye, 10-ounce sirloin, or chicken fried steak. Open Thursday through Saturday from 5:30 to 10 p.m. Expand your horizons with a trip to Friend Country Club, just 40 minutes southwest of Lincoln. It's worth a visit.
If you're seeking a career with a growing company, Gaina Trucking and Excavating is hiring and looking for additions to their team. Gaina Trucking has a strong team culture, competitive pay, 401ks, and benefits like health, dental, and vision. Drivers are guaranteed 40 hours per week, even in the winter months, and are home every night. Start your career today at Gaina Trucking and Excavating. Apply today at GainaTrucking.com.
There are so many realtors in Lincoln and Omaha, but don't get overwhelmed by all the no-names, plus all the different companies. Ben Bleicher with Professional Realty Group at Berkshire Hathaway Home Services Real Estate is your go-to option, whether buying or selling residential, luxury, leasing, investment properties, or commercial property, small or large. Ben's team offers decades of experience, unbeatable customer service, and promises to fully protect your interests throughout the entire transaction. Call 402-419-6309 for all your real estate needs. Ben Bleicher with Professional Realty Group of BHHS Ambassador Real Estate.
Looking for the right utility tractor for your acreage? Find it at Landmark Implement. Shop our selection of used John Deere compact tractors from 1 through 5 series with the power and versatility to track mowing, yard work, snow removal, and more. For a limited time, get 2.9% financing for 36 months, followed by 6.2 for 24 months with approved credit. We've got the right fit for your property and your budget. Stop by your local Landmark Implement or visit us online at landmarkimp.com today and experience the Landmark difference.
A membership with John Henry's will fast track you to front of the line service, seasonal tune-ups, and far fewer unexpected moments. That means no breakdowns, no waiting on a call, and no nonsense. It's consistent care that prevents small issues from turning into big bills. Join the Comfort Club and get VIP treatment 365 days a year with 24-hour priority response, member-only discounts, and peace of mind on your home's most expensive systems. Call John Henry's.
John Henry's Plumbing, Heating and Air.
And electrical.
Bauer Underground has been serving local contractors and utility contractors all across the state since 1997. When you see the black and white trucks, you know that the best workers in the business have arrived. Bauer is currently looking for equipment operators, laborers, diesel mechanics, and aerial linemen. Join the brotherhood built on hard work, authentic people, and a pedigree of success. They're offering top-notch benefits, a matching 401k, and a $600 per year clothing allowance. Bauer Underground, a family-friendly company with plenty of room for advancement.
93.7 The Ticket, Fox, KFXL Weather. Sponsored by John Henry's Plumbing, Heating, and Air Conditioning.
The Lincoln forecast for today, we'll see lots of sunshine with a light breeze. Going to be warm, an afternoon high near 87. Tonight, mainly clear skies, a continued light breeze, the low around 55. And tomorrow, we'll see more sunshine, it'll be breezy, an afternoon high near 83. I'm meteorologist Kyle Fletcher for 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
Don't leave your spring digging projects to chance. Call Nebraska 811 before grabbing the shovel so utilities like LES can mark their buried lines and help you prevent injuries and outages.
Need an adventure? How about the bright lights of Vegas? The magic of Orlando? Or the sunshine of Orange County? Now you can reach them all with new flights from LNK on Breeze Airways. Stretch out, relax, and enjoy the flight. Your vacation starts the moment you board at LNK. Book today at LincolnAirport.com. LNK. Make flying easy.
Back to old school with Foreman and Orman on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
Just a brief moment left here on Old School, brought to you by Graham Tire Company. Austin Norman, Harrison Orange with you. Harrison, lineup out for Nebraska baseball, looking for a little bit of get back on the Kansas Jayhawks down in Lawrence. Will be a Moyer, Worthley, Sanderson, Carey, Buck, Will Jeske back in the lineup at DH, Josh Overbeek, Drew Grigo, and Rhett Stokes is the lineup for Nebraska with Tucker Timmerman getting the start. Huge opportunity for Nebraska coming off one of the best weekends of the 2000s in program history with the sweep over top 15 foe USC. A lot of buzz around Nebraska. Not necessarily a must-win, but man, it'd be nice to capitalize on the weekend momentum with another win down there in Lawrence.
Yeah, I mean, not a must-win. If you want to win regional, if you want to host regionals, maybe it is a must-win in that category with some of the Big Ten opponents you have left up there. I talked about it before we went on air, but curious to see how they bounce back. First time they played Kansas, obviously not a great result. And then you have a tough weekend for Oregon, a very emotional weekend with USC, which, to be fair to them, Friday was incredibly emotional. They bounced back. They played well on Saturday. Of course, Sunday, like they played solid. Can they keep that up is the biggest question. Is I just want to see the confidence of this team. Don't get too high. Don't get too low. If they can just kind of play a good balance, I think feel pretty good about their chances versus Kansas tonight.
There were some fireworks at Haymarket Park. We'll see if there are more down at the Hog, as they call it down there in Lawrence, Kansas. Big one for Nebraska baseball. tonight. We'll keep you updated on that throughout the course of the evening. Harrison, thanks for talking Bulls and basketball with me. I always appreciate it.
Absolutely. One day we'll talk about the winning Bulls, but as for now, we'll just talk about the losing Bulls.
We can talk about the winners at Graham Tire Company. They're celebrating 75 years of serving the Midwest. More than just tires, they do all kinds of car and light truck repairs, too. From brakes to oil changes, trust Graham Tire for service you can count on. It's Graham Tire, getting you to the places that matter most. What matters most to me right now is getting the Kansas City Royals off the schneid. Come on, fellas. You've been there. You can do it. You've had the lead late. Just get one over the finish line, and then we can start talking. For Harrison, I'm Austin. We'll talk to you again soon.
Grandma and Grandpa, Mom and Dad, then the kids, and now the grandkids. Judson Irrigation has provided lawn sprinkler system design, installation, repair, and service to 4 generations. They're just like members of the family.